What do you think differentiates top sales performers from those who struggle to get results? Is it just their communication skills, experience, or perhaps luck? Successful salespeople deeply understand customer psychology and can align their proposals with customers' unconscious decision-making processes. Today, I'll share a practical story about how Richard, a corporate sales representative who was struggling to close deals, significantly improved his success rate by understanding and utilizing cognitive biases.
What am I doing wrong? I thoroughly prepare my proposal materials. I'm confident in my product knowledge. But it always ends the same way. Customers just say, "I'll think about it," and never make a decision.
Richard, sales isn't just about explaining products. People don't make decisions based solely on logic. Behind every decision-making process are unconscious psychological mechanisms called cognitive biases. If you understand and utilize these biases, you can turn a customer's "I'll think about it" into "let's proceed." Today, I'll introduce highly effective cognitive biases for each of the 4 critical stages of the sales process, along with practical examples. Initial approach stage. Richard's challenge is to secure an appointment with Mr. Saito, the CIO of a global manufacturing company, and build trust with him. Let's examine 5 powerful cognitive biases that can help build trust from the very first contact.
Mr. Saito, thank you for your time. What did you think of the latest analysis report on security risks in manufacturing that I sent you last week?
Oh, that report. I referenced it during our executive meeting yesterday. Thank you for sharing such valuable information.
Richard used the principle of reciprocity here. This is one of the most powerful social biases in human psychology. When people receive something of value, they feel a natural urge to return the favor.
The report is based on our CTO's keynote presentation at a major IT conference in Silicon Valley. The manufacturing security section has received particularly positive feedback throughout the industry.
What Richard is leveraging here is authority bias. This is our tendency to trust information backed by expertise or authority. By highlighting his company's expertise and industry recognition, Richard elevates his message from simple sales talk to credible, expert insight.
Tech Corporation, a manufacturing company similar to yours, recently upgraded their security infrastructure using this approach. In fact, about 60% of companies in your industry have begun implementing similar measures.
This demonstrates the power of social proof. It's the psychological principle that when people are uncertain about the right course of action, they look to what others in similar positions are doing.
Did you see the news last month about Info Corporation? They suffered a ransomware attack and shut down their production lines for 3 days, resulting in losses of around $2 million.
Richard is now using the availability heuristic. People tend to give more weight to specific and recent examples that come easily to mind. By citing a fresh, concrete example, Richard effectively raises awareness of the potential risks.
Next month, we're offering a free security assessment conducted by our security experts, but it's limited to just 3 companies. I could reserve a spot for your company if you're interested, though I should mention that 2 spots have already been claimed.
The bias being applied here is scarcity bias. People naturally place higher value on things that are difficult to obtain or available only for a limited time. Needs assessment stage. With his successful approach, Richard secured a meeting with CIO Saito. His next challenge is to uncover not just surface-level needs, but the deeper challenges and hidden concerns. Richard employs 5 psychological techniques to draw out the client's true priorities.
Thank you for meeting with me today. To begin, which aspects of your IT environment would you most like to enhance?
Richard is using the framing effect. This is the psychological phenomenon where the same information can significantly alter people's judgments depending on how it's presented. Asking, "What would you like to enhance?" rather than, "What problems are you having?" alters how information is perceived and leads to a more productive conversation.
We definitely need to strengthen our security, but we can't sacrifice user-friendliness. The last system we implemented was so complicated that we received numerous complaints from our staff.
I completely understand where you're coming from. With the right design, security and usability can absolutely coexist. Could you tell me more about this particular concern?
Here Richard is employing the mirroring technique, a powerful psychological strategy. People naturally develop trust and goodwill toward those who reflect their viewpoints. By genuinely acknowledging the customer's values and exploring them further, He reduces resistance while building rapport that will make his eventual proposal more acceptable.
I imagine there are elements of your current system that work well for you. Which specific features would you want to preserve in any new solution?
This approach addresses the status quo bias. People have a strong psychological tendency to resist change and maintain current conditions. By not suggesting a complete overhaul, but instead showing willingness to preserve what works, Richard eases the psychological resistance to change. This makes the customer more comfortable and willing to share honest feedback.
We typically recommend to our manufacturing clients that they begin with a basic security assessment, using the results to guide their subsequent security measures. This approach allows for a clear understanding of the current situation and enables you to prioritize and implement the most effective solutions. Would you like to discuss whether this approach would be suitable for your company?
Richard is utilizing the default effect. This is the psychological principle that people have a strong inclination to choose the pre-existing or default option when making decisions.
A growing trend in cybersecurity is the adoption of zero-trust security models by forward-thinking companies.
This statement leverages the bandwagon effect. This describes how people are unconsciously drawn to options that others have embraced or that appear to be gaining popularity. This effect is particularly strong in technology adoption and corporate decision-making, as companies fear being left behind by competitors. By framing information as industry trends or what innovative companies are doing, he taps into the natural desire to keep pace with peers and competitors. Proposal stage. Having thoroughly understood the client's needs, Richard moves to presenting a compelling proposal. Here too, he strategically employs 5 cognitive biases to maximize his proposal's appeal and effectiveness.
The key strength of this solution is its seamless user experience after implementation. Your security will be significantly enhanced, yet your users will hardly notice any change in their daily workflow.
Here Richard is tapping into confirmation bias. This is the tendency for people to favor information that confirms their existing beliefs or priorities. Richard recognized that CITO values user experience above all, so by emphasizing this aspect, he increases the likelihood of a positive reception.
The standout feature of today's proposal is our AI-powered anomaly detection system. This technology visualizes potential threats that traditional systems simply can't detect. And finally, here's the executive dashboard we've customized specifically for your company. It automates monthly security reporting for your leadership team, giving them a clear overview of your security posture at a glance.
Richard is applying the peak end rule. This cognitive bias shows that people judge an experience primarily based on its most memorable moment, the peak, and how it concludes, the end. By highlighting the most impressive feature and closing with an executive-focused benefit, Richard enhances the overall impression of his proposal.
With your company's needs and budget in mind, we've developed 3 options: Basic, Standard, and Premium. Here are the features and pricing for each plan.
Richard is addressing choice overload. When faced with too many options, people often become overwhelmed and may avoid making any decision at all. By presenting just 3 clearly differentiated choices, he prevents decision paralysis and facilitates action.
Our premium package costs $1 million per year. However, based on your specific situation and priorities, I believe our standard plan at $700K would be ideal, as it focuses on implementing the most critical measures first.
Richard is using the anchoring effect, a powerful cognitive bias. This is where the first number or piece of information presented becomes the reference point anchor for subsequent judgments. By first mentioning the price of the premium package, the standard plan feels considerably more affordable by comparison.
We've also analyzed the risks of not implementing this solution. Industry data shows the average financial impact from security breaches is around $10 million. Not counting the serious damage to brand reputation and customer relationships. This means our solution effectively provides a risk mitigation value of roughly 14 times your investment.
Richard is leveraging loss aversion from prospect theory. People are psychologically more motivated to avoid losses than to achieve equivalent gains. By emphasizing risks prevented rather than benefits gained, he creates a stronger psychological impact. Closing stage. After presenting his proposal, Richard strategically employs 5 final cognitive biases to move toward contract signing. The techniques used at this stage are crucial for facilitating the final decision.
As I mentioned in my email last week, This security solution is particularly well suited for addressing your challenge of balancing robust security with user-friendly systems. As we discussed in our previous meeting, it's designed to strengthen your security posture without disrupting your users' workflow.
Richard is utilizing the mere exposure effect. This psychological phenomenon shows that people develop positive feelings toward things they encounter repeatedly, even without conscious awareness. By consistently repeating key messages across multiple channels, phone and in-person meetings, Richard builds familiarity and trust in his proposal.
First, what are your thoughts on how effectively this solution addresses your company's security challenges?
Yes, I can see that it does appear to align well with our needs.
Thank you for your feedback. Shall we move forward by discussing implementation timelines as our next step?
Here Richard is applying the principle of commitment and consistency. This psychological principle shows that once people affirm a position, they're more likely to agree to subsequent requests that align with that initial commitment. Starting with small agreements and gradually building toward the final contract lowers psychological barriers to the ultimate decision.
We've calculated the costs of delaying this implementation as well. Maintaining your current approach will require approximately 3,000 hours of manual security work annually, plus incident response costs of roughly $2.5 million.
Richard is combining loss aversion bias with the concept of opportunity cost. This approach explicitly highlights the costs of inaction. Rather than emphasizing the benefits of implementing the solution, he focuses on the ongoing losses from not implementing it. This helps the customer realize that maintaining the status quo isn't simply doing nothing, it's actively choosing to accept preventable losses.
Our company offers a complete satisfaction guarantee for the first 3 months after implementation. If you don't see the expected results, we'll refund your investment in full. You can literally try our solution with absolutely no risk.
Here Richard is leveraging the zero-risk bias. This psychological phenomenon shows that people value eliminating risk entirely more than merely reducing it. The money-back guarantee removes the fear of making a wrong decision, significantly lowering the barrier to commitment.
Before a formal contract, we offer a 2-week free trial. Additionally, we'll preload your company's operational data into the system, allowing you to see exactly how it can be used in your actual work environment. We'll provide it fully set up, so you can start testing it in a near-production setting immediately.
Finally, Richard is using the endowment effect. This is the psychological principle that people place a higher value on things they feel they own and are reluctant to give them up. By not just offering a free trial, but also integrating the customer's actual business data into the system, Richard creates a sense that the system is already part of their company. This allows them to strongly experience the value of the system after implementation. By strategically designing the trial, Richard deepens the customer's psychological involvement and increases the likelihood of a final purchase decision.
Richard, I'd like to proceed with the standard plan you recommended. I'll need to get final approval at next week's executive meeting, but I'll definitely advocate strongly for it.
Thank you very much for your trust. We're committed to exceeding your expectations and will do everything possible to enhance your security posture and operational efficiency.
Summary. Richard's example demonstrates that by incorporating scientifically proven principles of behavioral economics into the sales process, you can naturally support the customer's decision-making. However, it's crucial to understand that cognitive biases are not tools for deception or intentional manipulation. The essence of sales is to solve the customer's genuine problems. Knowledge of behavioral economics is merely a tool to communicate that value accurately and effectively. Therefore, it's essential that we use this knowledge ethically and respect the customer's decision. When applied appropriately, behavioral economics has the power to create the best possible outcomes for both the sales team and the customer. Let's begin by deeply understanding our customers and approaching them with sincerity. Here's a preview of our next video. Unlock event potential cognitive triggers for community engagement. Have you ever planned a festival or local event, only to find that fewer people showed up than expected? Does that sound familiar? In fact, various cognitive biases are at work in the process from when people learn about an event information, decide to participate, and actually attend. In the next episode, we'll explore how to create irresistible invitations using behavioral economics, featuring an example of local events struggling with attendance. Stay tuned. If you found this video helpful, please let us know with a like. Want more practical solutions using behavioral economics? Make sure you don't miss the next video by subscribing to the channel. New videos are released every Friday at 6 p.m.